Whoa. Good evening. How's everybody? Is there anybody alive out there? I stole that line from Bruce. Good evening. Welcome to your weekend. You folks have been working so hard for so long. In excess of 5.5 months, you've been beating up your families and friends for money. You know what time it is? It's about time. It's about time your weekend got here. No matter who you are, you get 24 hours a day. Each one of those hours contains 60 minutes, no more, no less. But somehow you manage to take your existing life, squeeze it, manipulate it, and still end up working as hard as you did training. Our hearts are all off to you. Nobody gets more than 24 hours a day. I will promise you one thing though, tomorrow, you're all gonna feel like Olympians. I promise you another thing, you will survive. Don't doubt, no doubt. You are the future for thousands of people that don't yet know that they're going to have cancer. I would like to just take a moment to ask you, if you're wearing a red shirt or you're wearing a team and training shirt, to turn to the team and training teammate next to you and say, thank you. You may have saved my life. Please do that now. The truth of the matter is 30% of us are going to battle cancer during our lifetimes. Nobody signs up, nobody's prepared. But very certainly very quickly it becomes about time. And I'm not talking about the time tomorrow when you start your race and when you end your race, because those are just moments. And just like the first and the last words in a sentence don't convey the idea, the start and the finish time tomorrow will not convey excuse me, the journey that you're going to face, the highs and the lows, the excitement you're going to face. It's very much like what it is to battle cancer. In the year 2000, my doctor of 20 years and my best friend of 40 years told me I had 3 years to live. The first thing that went through my mind was, oh, you poor guy. How do you deliver news like this to your friend? I was 52 at the time. He had been my friend since we were 12. Question very quickly becomes it's about time. How long have I had this? We don't know. We will assume that your date of survivorship starts today. We don't know how long you've been walking around with this. But when he told me I had an appointment Monday morning at 8:30 at U of P, I wasn't so worried about what he was feeling, and I started to think about what I was feeling. Cancer. Oh God, cancer. On the way to the pharmacy, I said, how much time do I have left? And making a joke, I said, do I have enough time to see some team in Philadelphia win another world championship? He said, I don't think anybody alive today. But that's another story. And he was wrong also. I said, how long have I got? And he said, this is a very difficult disease. I've been a GP for 20 years. I've never diagnosed this. You're the first one. When I saw it, I almost fell off my chair. He said, realistically, 3 to 5 years without effective treatment. The answer to that is, let's get effective treatment. Unfortunately, there were only 2 treatment choices at that time. One was a bone marrow transplant. Monday morning, I was told I had to make a decision as quickly as possible on that. And by the way, considering your prior health history and your age, there's probably a 40 to 50% chance you won't survive the first 30 days. But we do need an answer quickly, please. The other choice was maximum dosage of chemotherapy, interferon and Ara-C, for a year. Not having a matched donor, I opted for the second choice. The first choice was the rock, the second choice was the hard place. I'll make it brief, but after 6 months I lost 50 pounds. I went from being able to travel pretty much all over the country on business, not being able to make it up and down the steps more than once a day. They looked at me and they said, you know, I think you're not going to make it because the interferon's going to kill you long before the cancer does. What do you want to do? I said, you know, this is manageable. And my wife said, whoa, let's get real here. She ratted me out. She said, take a look at him. Can't eat, can't listen to music, can't watch TV, can't read. When I turn on the garbage disposal, he's got to put his hands in his ears so he doesn't throw up. This is not manageable. The doctor said, what do you want to do? I said, I want off of it, and I want off of it now. And my decision was to make some memories. Put my finances in order. Untreated leukemia is a death sentence. At that time it was. So I did those things. My wife and I went on a cruise. I quickly regained some strength. I traveled with some friends, made a bucket list, as it were, fully expecting that I had about a year and a half left. And then we began to hear about a trial, pesky trials. We chased this trial from MD Anderson to Presbyterian Hospital, and they were all closing, but they were closing for a good reason, because of the success they had had. They had taken people that were in bed in the last days of their lives and given this particular drug, a pill, which was called STI 571, Standard Translocation Inhibitor 571. Why? Because he had tried 570 compounds before and came up empty. These people were within a week of death. They gave them this pill, and almost to a person, within a week they were going home. This is not a single, double, triple. This was a grand slam home run. Better than 95% of the people in the study responded similarly. Not just those on the edge of death, but those that had just been diagnosed. And when I was diagnosed, my cancer count was 82%. They call it the Philadelphia chromosome because it was discovered down in Philadelphia. After 6 months of really stringent chemotherapy, I was at 89%. I really didn't have much of a choice. May 17th, 2001, I was watching CNBC and they said, Novartis has just received approval from the FDA for a new drug called Gleevec. I was on the phone with my sister-in-law and I started dancing and I started shouting and I started jumping around. That's my bill, that's my bill. Well, it was founded by a Dr. Drucker, a researcher, who had 570 failures before he found this one. And he was funded by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And you guys know where they get their money from, I'm sure. So it's not a stretch to say that I'm here alive today because of your predecessors. And it's certainly not a stretch to say that years from now, somebody will say, I'm alive today because of Team in Training and Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. I promise you that will happen. Within 3 months of taking 1 pill a day, what's the sound of 1 pill shaking? Sound of hope. I was at 2% cancer count, and within 6 months I was at 0, in effect putting me in remission. And then it became about time to find out where this magic came from, who was responsible. And I found out about the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. I started a support group. They offered to sponsor it. Walked into an office with maybe 30 people in it. 2 were spending money on patients and 28 others were trying to raise money. Light the Night, Bridesmaids Ball, Pennies for Patients, of course, Team in Training. And I was just in awe of what these people were doing. And I got involved. So it's been 10 years for me when I found out about time. It certainly is about time. This will be the 20th event I've attended personally, and it's been 10 years. We can't say thank you enough. What do you give somebody when you give them their life? What do you give somebody when you snatch them back? You give them a magic cancer pill, as Time magazine called it. You give them time to reevaluate, time to rededicate. It certainly is about time. I'll leave you with this story. 2 weeks ago on a Sunday, I watched Channel 6 News. There was a young man, 13 years old, bald head and earring. His face was swollen with various types of steroids. The news story was being shot at Williamstown Airport, and the young man was being treated at EI DuPont. His doctor was interviewed first and said, the young man is dying, we've pulled off all treatment. He's 13 and his family's going through crisis. We asked him what he wanted to do. He wanted to go to Disney World. So it broke my heart to tell him he probably wouldn't survive the trip. Can't let you go to Disney World. What else would you like to do? I want to go skydiving. I want to go skydiving with my mom and my dad and my 2 brothers and my doctor. I'll show you. They asked him why. He said, because I want to know what it's going to look like when I'm an angel. I want my family to know what it's going to look like when I'm up there looking down on them. They brought in 5 skydivers, the best skydivers in the world. I think 3 came from France and a couple came from South America. They all jumped out of this plane together. And this boy was smiling, and his mother and his families was smiling. But I'll tell you one thing, it's about time. It's about time that 13-year-olds stop making bucket lists. It's about time that they start worrying about what colleges they're going to go to. It's time that families stop having their finances ruined to pay for treatment. It's time that we stop losing mothers and fathers and children, uncles, aunts, brothers and sisters. It's about time, but you know that. I hope you have the time of your life tomorrow. We're all living the time of our lives, whether we're healthy or whether we're not. It's still the time of our lives. Cherish every moment tomorrow. Take those snapshots. Don't worry about the beginning word and the end word in the sentence. Fill in the words in between. Look at the faces of the people on the street. Look at the little boys waving the flag. Maybe there'll be a cop that'll smile. Look at the other purple, maybe not in Philadelphia. I heard that snicker. You've raised too much money for me back there in central Pennsylvania to make fun of you. You will feel like an Olympian tomorrow. If they call me a hero, you guys are the superheroes. I thank you, I thank you, I thank you. On behalf of myself, remember there's 850,000 other stories like this. You're fortunate you're only hearing one of them tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I've heard David speak, I don't even know